This is the Village of Vernon Hills Planning and Zoning Commission, and we need to start with a roll call.
Chairman Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Blue,
Present.
Commissioner Cotton,
Here.
Commissioner Hesner,
Here.
Commissioner Heidner, Commissioner Mulcrone,
Here.
Commissioner Gorog. We have a quorum.
Okay. First order of business is a public hearing on case 1701, a petition filed by Rivers Edge of Vernon Hills Development Corporation seeking approval of a special use permit for a planned unit development to allow an increase in density for a residential building, along with certain variations, and preliminary and final site and landscape plan approvals. This is regarding the property commonly known as Rivers Edge, located at 425 Benjamin Drive in Vernon Hills, zoned R7 multifamily. My understanding is that the developer, Weiss Development, is asking that this be continued so they have time to prepare necessary documentation for review by the commission and village staff with a continuance until April 19th.
That is correct. They have still revising their architectural plans and providing further analysis internally as to how the layout of the building will be with the apartments and or condos, as they say. And I know they have met with the adjacent HOA very recently as well.
And April 19th meets their projected needs,
It does.
maybe?
However, I have indicated to them that staff will require time to review the plans, and I believe that will lead to a further continuance.
So should we continue to the 19th or a further date?
In order to keep it on the agenda rather than keep sending out notices, I would recommend maintaining it on the 19th just so
Okay.
that we have it on the record, but then understanding that there might be likely be pushed back further.
Okay. Because this is a public hearing, we have to ask if anyone from the public wishes to speak with respect to this case at this point or at the continued. Okay, seeing no one running to the podium. We have a motion then to approve continuing case number 1701, the public hearing filed by Rivers Edge of Vernon Hills Development until April 19th, 2017 at 7:30 in the evening. We need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, we need a roll call.
Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Commissioner Cotton,
Yes.
Commissioner Hesner,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner, Commissioner Mulcrone,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorog, Chairman Morris.
Yes. Okay. Next, we have a public hearing to consider case 17-02, a petition filed by, oh, good luck, Martina
Z.
V. Covington LLC, requesting an amendment to Appendix C of the Code of Ordinances to add a hospital and other additional regulations related thereto to the list of special uses permitted in the BP zoning business park district, and pursuant to that same ordinance to approve a special use permit to allow for a hospital known as Vernon Hills Behavioral Hospital on the property located at 300 North Milwaukee Avenue, which was formerly CDW's administration building. We understand similarly they are looking for a continuance to April 19th as well.
That's correct. So so what happened was we scheduled a meeting. We've been involved in a number of conversations with them as well as with the high school district and adjacent property owners. Through the course of those discussions, we encouraged them to schedule a public meeting, which took place on March 2nd, both at 12 noon as well as 6 p.m., to receive resident feedback regarding the proposed use. This led to pretty productive conversations. I think predominantly, and there's an article in the Tribune that I can share with folks if need be, people were very positive about it. I've received about probably a dozen emails from individuals who've expressed support towards the development and the proposed use. However, they also are aware of a number of concerns that residents have and other individuals have expressed. And so the reason for the request for the table is that they want to have additional time to kind of help try to create more outreach to those entities and hopefully create a dialogue where they can address those questions prior to appearing before a public hearing.
Okay, since this is also a public hearing, we have to ask if anyone from the public wishes to speak with respect to this request. Okay, seeing none, we then have a motion to continue the public hearing in case 17-02 until April 19th at 7:30 p.m. We need a second. Okay, any discussion? All right, we need a roll call.
Commissioner Cotton,
Yes.
Commissioner Hesner,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner, Commissioner Mulchrone,
Yes.
Commissioner Grog, Chairman Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have anything for development review to discuss?
Yes, so there are a number of items. The village board passed the Cuneo Pulte development at last night's village board meeting, so that has been approved. Melody Farm, Regency will likely begin tree removal probably next week. They have to, according to the IEPA, remove the trees on the property prior to April 1. That's due to the nesting season of an endangered bat. And so once the nesting begins, they are not able to remove any trees on the site. So the long-eared bat, I believe, is the particular animal. And then Hughes Mandarin is projected to open, hopefully, or soon to be middle of March. In about a week, it will be middle of March, so probably end of March. And we'll, fingers crossed for that one. In terms of items before the Planning and Zoning Commission, there are several. We've got the Hawthorne Village Commons, which was recently purchased by North American Real Estate. They are an entity that is looking to construct an outlot in what is currently the Hobby Lobby parking lot on the southwestern corner of that outlot or that property. They'd also look to resurface that particular portion of the parking lot, so it would be 90-degree perpendicular parking. And so that's something that they're looking to have. They're going to do a PDQ, which is a fast casual chicken sandwich type restaurant, and so that's their current proposal for that site, and they're going to a concept review with the village board on March 21st. Also on March 21st, there's a proposal to expand the existing Rust-Oleum building. That is going to concept review on March 21st. Looks like there's a very limited number of variations that will be required as it relates to setbacks. And so in discussions internally, it appears as though this should be scheduled for a P&Z meeting fairly quickly, because a lot of the work that can be done through technical review. A lot of almost the architecture is going to match identical to the existing building. So we will be putting that on the agenda probably, I would guess, in either end of April or early May, depending on how quickly their engineers and contractors perform. Otherwise, Gym Spot, which is a proposal for the 500 Bunker Court property, that's a special use for a gymnastics group. They are currently beginning very early on stage of technical review. We're not doing a full-blown engineering or anything else because it is an existing building. However, they only have 48 parking spaces at the property, and some of their class schedule calls for over 120 or 130 students at a time. And so while we do recognize that there is a lot of drop-off traffic, we also have concerns over the amount of parking that they have available for the site. So what we've asked them to do prior to really moving forward is to have a lease or begin negotiating for additional parking in the event of overflow. Last but not least, the other item is for a proposed veterinary clinic in an inline space adjacent to the Walmart. It's be about 2,000 square feet. It's a special use due to just the medical, the way it's zoned. But otherwise, it's inline, it's just gonna be internal. It won't be for boarding. I need to do a little bit more research myself on past entitlements with vet clinics, but it should be pretty straightforward. So I would anticipate probably scheduling these, as I said, end of April, maybe April 26th, following the April 19th meeting, or early May. But I do want to recognize everyone's vacation schedules as it comes up near the end of the school year, as well as my own vacation schedule.
Okay.
One other thing, just as a heads up, we, as part of the budget process for next fiscal year, we've included $15,000 to hire a planning consultant to review our parking regulations as well as our current development ordinance. Because of the number of petitioners that have come before us looking for certain variations, we thought it'd be a good idea to hire someone who can really do a thorough vetting of really what's truly needed for these types of uses. Because I think, as we've all seen, it's kind of run the gamut of what variations are being requested, and I know for restaurants, we certainly are kind of probably an outlier to other communities. So we want to make sure that what we're doing is really consistent with industry best practices for communities and for good planning. More planting beds, less parking. So.
Okay.
Is
Right.
there, is there anything in the works for restaurants over by AMC?
Not that I'm aware of. I keep hearing kind of glimpses of this might be coming in or this might be, but it's been some time since I've heard anything that I felt like it was worth sharing.
What's going on with the site grading in the corporate woods?
So that is going to be a Neal Enterprises, and it's a office warehouse building. It's gone. I know they wanted to move a lot quicker, but they've run into some issues getting structural engineering approval. They just need to respond to their comments, and they'll be.
So they're building that as of right?
Yeah.
From development?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the just certain annexation agreements in corporate woods requires less approval than other areas of town.
And Menards.
Menards they just need to pick up the permit.
Okay.
So they're almost there.
Then I saw Jimmy's on 45, made it, what, 4 months, 5 months maybe?
I think 12.
I don't think he made it 12. Whoever was there before, it lasted longer than Jimmy did.
Yeah.
The site certainly poses some challenges.
I think so did their business model. They have really weird hours. There were often nights that it was dark
Mhm.
with basically no explanation. So I think I had a hard time making it.
Well, I can say that P&Z Bank at Deer Path and Town Line, as you probably know, the bank did close. I've already been in contact with a potential developer who's looking at that property, and it's too early to say what's going to be there, because right now I think it's just speculative, and the village board has requested additional details that rather than just having a speculative building come before them. So we'll see kind of where that comes.
What about the old Philly G? Anything there?
That is going through the foreclosure process, and so that is going to go through a sheriff's sale likely in December. So it'll be.
How about Bally's?
Bally's is owned by Centennial, and what we've been told is they intend to keep or own that property for another year before putting it on the market. We were not given a reason as to why.
What's going on with the Circuit City Tiger Direct?
Ashley Furniture is relocating there, so they will be going there. They'll likely receive a TCO probably in the next couple of weeks, subject to landscaping approval, and we have not yet heard of any movement on who will occupy the new or the former Ashley Furniture space. It's a really large space, and what we've been always told by them is it's just they don't need that amount. If you've ever been in there, it's pretty large. I would anticipate that space being maybe turned into maybe two separate entities, maybe. I mean, but otherwise we haven't heard anything yet as to potential tenant.
Okay, anything else? Okay, then we have the approval of the minutes of the February 1st, 2017 meeting. Any comments to those? If not, we have a motion to approve. We need a second.
Second?
We can do that by acclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone? Okay, Jerry abstains. Anyone opposed? Okay, then we have the approval of the minutes of the November 9th, 2016 meeting. Any comments to that? We have a motion to approve those minutes. We need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? You can do that by acclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, and Jerry abstains. Okay, we have nothing else. We have a motion to adjourn, which we need a second for.
Second.
Any discussion on that one? Okay, hearing none, we do that by acclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Good night.
Thank you all for coming.